This one goes out to all the folks in my comment section who were like, dude, you should review Late Night with the Devil. To which I had one thought. I was like, what's Late Night with the Devil? So I was like, all right, let's watch a trailer for this movie. Why am I holding a remote? All right, let's watch a trailer for this movie that I've never heard about in the history of...
Good to see you again, Jack.
Well, that looks awesome. All right, let's do this. So Late Night with the Devil is directed by Cameron and Colin Cairns, I believe is how you say the last name. Pronunciation police, proceed. It stars David Dastmalchian. I had you right there, didn't I? I had you at Dastmalchian. I should quit right now, but I'm gonna continue. He is great though. He plays Jack Delroy, a late night talk show host in the year of our Lord 1977. He's never been able to beat Johnny Carson. His career is on a downward trajectory, so he has this brilliant idea. Bring the author of a book about a possessed girl into the studio on air, as well as the possessed girl herself. What could go wrong? And I love the execution of this movie, the immersion. It's filmed entirely like it is a broadcast that you are watching. Everything from the cameras, the lighting, the shots, the camera angles, it's as though it is a late night talk show. It looks and feels like it's from the 70s. It's in 4:3 aspect ratio. It's weird that the trailer's in widescreen because the movie's mostly not. And then it's black and white footage that's following him around during the commercial break, in which you get to see more behind the scenes. It's like this archive footage that they've gotten a hold of. They've stitched it together with the broadcast, and now it's the true story. It's the full picture of what happened that night. I thought it was incredibly immersive. It was that feeling that the found footage genre used to give us before they burned it out and the genre died about a decade ago, where you feel like you're watching something that feels more real. The movie also does some very time-efficient setup here. It's this 5-minute voiceover with pictures and footage, kind of a sizzle reel documentary, only takes a few minutes. As the vibe is supposed to be, you're an audience member watching the full events of what happened on that night. It fit right in. It was a really quick way to be like, and here's who he is, here's what happened in his life, here's where his ratings were, where they are, and now that's why we're here. It keeps the movie at a very reasonable 93 minutes, and I appreciate that. And David Dastmalchian in the movie, man, he continues to show how good he is. He always impresses me as an actor. I don't want to speak for the guy, but he seems to be an actor who likes to take on roles that don't feel like each other. It'd be so easy to be like, all right, that's my wheelhouse. That's what I'm gonna do forever. Not him. And in this movie, I really enjoyed the fact that when he's on air, you get the persona. You can see how he's a charismatic guy who is a talk show host, but you can tell why he never beat Johnny Carson. Then when the cameras are off, he has a different persona because he doesn't have to be on for the audience. You do feel the desperation with his situation that the audience is just unaware of. That feeling of uncertainty of, am I not gonna get my show renewed? You really feel like this night is his last desperate act. For better or for worse. Then when he's back out there being the host, he's a host who's genuinely shocked because he's seen some shit. He's trying to keep it together, crack the jabs and the jokes. And anyhow, it's a layered performance. I thought he was great. And the movie being a broadcast doesn't get right into the possessed girl thing. There's some buildup. There's some opening acts you gotta watch. You got this one guy who's one of those mediums, one of those psychics, one of those folks you would imagine would be on a late night talk show. I'm getting a name from the audience. Tom. Tommy? Timothy? Timon? Pumbaa?
Pam.
Yes, Pam. I knew it started with a P. Nailed it. Which lends itself to weird things happening with that guest segment, which makes you think, is that part of his thing, or is that leading into what's coming? Like, is it real? Is it not? What is real? You have another guest who's the skeptic, the James Randi, but not James Randi character. And if you haven't seen YouTube videos of James Randi debunking paranormal or otherwise psychic claims, you're welcome for the rabbit hole you're now about to tumble down. Then Demon Possession Girl shows up, but not until about halfway into the movie, which again could have been boring, but you feel the swell of tension leading up to it. Now this movie works to craft a very immersive experience, which is you, the audience, are watching this special Halloween episode of a 1977 late night talk show that has psychics, skeptics, and cherry on top, and apparently demon-possessed girl. It's an entertaining cautionary tale about the price of fame. What's your soul worth? The slippery slope that is sensationalism. Maybe the movie takes place in 1977, but it's very applicable to us folks of today, 2024, using the possession girl as the final stroke to make the point. There were a couple scenes, a couple of moments, I don't even feel they needed. There's one scene in particular I was like, did we just slip into body horror? Didn't know we were watching Cronenberg now. I just wasn't braced for it. What can I say? It's just one scene, so it passes. But the real thing that stood out where I was like, that was a bit much, is when there's this CGI electricity happening, and I was like, that it stands out in a way that looks unnatural. The cameras, the sets, the execution, the aspect ratio, all period accurate. Then you have a couple scenes with CGI electricity, and I was like, that does not look period accurate. That looks like low-budget CGI from, well, today. But the great part about the movie is how you wrestle with it when you're going home, you know, after the movie's over. I always appreciate a film like that, where the show doesn't end when the end credits start. You're going home, you're like, okay. So here's what I saw, and you're wrestling with the two perspectives. You have the audience, and you know what you saw, but you have the skeptic's voice in your ear where you're like, but did I see that, or was it tricks? Look, in the end, I was absolutely entertained by Late Night with the Devil. I cannot recall one jump scare in the entire film. That's a huge plus. I heard they used AI in this movie. I was like, where did they use AI? I guess it's the title cards in between the commercial breaks. That's lame. I'm like, come on. How are you gonna be a low-budget indie film and not fight for the little guy? 9 months from now, when the end of the year comes and I'm sizing up all the movies that I saw in 2024, I have no doubt this one's gonna be a standout. This one's worth watching and worth buying on Blu-ray. Is Amazon the last holdout of Blu-rays? It's getting depressing out there. I'm never changing up that rating. It's gonna be that forever. I might say DVDs. VHS. All right, so Late Night with the Devil. Have you seen it? What did you think about it? Whatever you thought, comment below. Let me know. And as always, if you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, click right here to see more.